It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Well, here we are back again. We're playing some Spirit now. I know it's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day either. But hey, we're here. We're posting some Spirit. We got Unrelenting here to help us out when learning this character, because it really you can tend to miss a bit when you're used to like using mainly 115 speeds. So it does help you kind of keep that distance, so you don't have such a huge punish for missing it. So either way, we got the usual slowdown perks and stuff like that just to keep us in the fight, because gens can get done very quickly. So you can see there was 2 people on that gen already. So we just focus on getting a hit in, and then that's when our power recharges. That's why we're running the green add-on and these cap for the speed, so that we could just get our power back, use it as much as possible to get the stun, which is cool. That's fine. We break the pallet. We're like, okay, cool. We still got some time. We figure, yeah, there they go. We already knew which direction that we're gonna try to head to. It's very easy to see that. So we knock them down pretty easily, and then we got our pain res going, which the pain res is actually next to the generator that we want to defend anyway. So that's exactly what we were looking for from the beginning. So boom, we blow up the gen. Awesome, right? You see the gen is gonna have all that smoke all over it, and then that's when we start to catch sight of the other survivor there for like a little bit. So we followed the trail. We are also going to try to moonwalk through that and figure they're just kind of running off for whatever reason. They're not really trying to do anything intelligent, so we just don't care about them. We focus on the unhook, because that's when we know there's an injured survivor and we can create the most pressure. They're going to try to like heal under hook, because you got to remember that they always expect the killer to just go for somebody new for free. Like, nah, we don't do that here. We're not going to play fair. Come on now. There's no reason to, right? There is no reason to, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we then followed through with Kate again. We knocked down the other one. We focus on this one. It looks like they're giving us a dead hard eyes. So that's when we decided to just wait and kind of go for like a short swing, just to throw off the timing. Which we'll actually see the builds at the end of the game. They do end up rage quitting because of it. And that's exactly why it's so important to utilize strategies. Which it's probably not as important on the early to mid MMR, obviously on the average, because of the fact that you know, lobbies may not be as difficult, or maybe survivors make more mistakes. We ended up hitting the invincibility frames, unfortunately, so it did kind of cost us a bit. But we also get the endurance hit as well, just to get them in deep wound and try to make it quicker to get rid of the bot. And then that's obviously when we focus on getting them on the ground, and we can eliminate the bot off the bat. That's exactly what we want to do, is to clear out a survivor as soon as humanly possible, so that you can obviously create the most amount of pressure, because that is, you know, an easier match to do, right? There's no reason you should make it more difficult on yourself when, you know, you're the only side that really has any difficulty to worry about. Keep in mind that gens are not hard to do, so I figure why should you make your life even harder when the killer is the only real side that actually has to do a lot of the work in the match. So it makes sense. So right here is when I start to mess around with Unrelenting. I just figured it'd be funny to just kind of keep going for the swing, which, because it is a 110, and this is why it can be very difficult to be used to. Like, with a 110 like this, which I saw the trap, I didn't care, you know what I'm saying? Keep in mind that I was just messing around. I was like, I already got somebody out of the game. It was already gonna be a win either way, right? So I figured, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? I can mess around, which is not something you always want to do, but in this situation I figured I'm gonna win anyway. It's not gonna matter. We kick the generator. We then start to use our phase, and we start to try to find where the other survivors are. Now, to say the least, this is definitely, we already knew they were going to run off in that direction, but because this one decided to start tapping the gen for some reason, that gives us everything we need. So I figure we can just continue to go after them. We use our phase again. It's the best thing to do with a character like this, is to constantly use that phase. And of course, we knew that they were going to have to decide between the window and the pallet. That's why we kept going side to side, because of the directional audio does mean that they're going to be hearing your phase go from side to side, and, you know, kind of scare them a bit into making a decision that they may not want to make. Now, because they're farming their teammates, I figured I'd just take the free M1. And you're gonna see I'm actually going after the savior this time. You know what I'm saying? The way that they want you to play, right? So that's why we're just doing it a little bit differently. Because of the fact that we're already winning. I already knew it was gonna be a win from the second that we had a quitter, and the second that same bot ended up getting eliminated. I was like, yeah, it's already over. Like, I can do whatever I want with this. Which they're immediately healing right next to the hook, which is when I just I blew up the gen again with pain res, which makes it funnier. Then we start going over there. They do drop firecrackers, so I figured I'll just go back to, after. At first, let me put down my little droplet. You know what I'm saying? Why not get some more points? Because we are trying to get our spirit to at least level 3, so we can get Spirit Fury for all my killers. Which we then hit the Sable there for fun. Because it's a free hit, you know, why not? We have a boost, you know what I'm saying? Then we start going over here to where the shack is at, because that's where I assume that they would want to heal, which we get once again unrelenting value. See how quick we recovered from that? Which means that when they start being cocky and waiting there and pointing or whatever nonsense, it doesn't mean anything anymore because you already are fully recovered. So as you're gonna see here, we do end up knocking them down again, getting finessed as per usual. We already knew that was coming. So then we go ahead and get the pickup. Now, of course, once again, another second chance perk. We got a flashbang ready to go, of course. Which we then, of course, for Spirit. So we just go ahead and phase. And then we go ahead and follow them again. And they get bodied again. So no matter what you do, you still get clowned on. So we go for the pickup again. Now, background player into flashbang or whatever have you. Or a flashlight this time. Either way, that doesn't matter. That makes no difference. You know, now we just go ahead and try to follow through because, you know, now Nia already had 2 free second chances, right? So now, what can she make out of this? Like, she already had 2 of them. You already had 2 blinds. So what can you make happen? Now, Jake's in the background thinking he's going to get a 3rd one or something. Like, come on, man. So he just used the circle to give us that coup de grace value, which is awesome for us. We see him through the wall, so that's why we start to follow him this way to push him back toward the pallet, because I already know what he wants to do. So that's why I wait a second, and then, and then the clown decides to vault into me to attempt the CJ. Which, to be honest with you, I have not seen anyone attempt the CJ in a long time. Like, I've played a lot of Ghostface and stuff like that. And at least at that level with my character, I just never see it anymore. I think they know at that level, like, it doesn't work. But when I'm playing a newer killer like this that I'm not really familiar with, I think it's a little bit more common to see a bully squad, I assume. So it's quite interesting to say the least. I pretty much never see it that often. But because I already knew what he wanted to do, it was quite easy just to expect. Because at the same time, like, I didn't really need to break the pallet, and as you also saw there, I already knew where they were gonna go. They always want to run to a pallet, so that's why we swing directly through it just to throw them off. And I figure out, even though the action is all the way over there, and that would be the optimal choice, I was like, let me get my pain res stack, you know what I'm saying? I want to get my maximum value out of my perks, so I went over for the pain res. And we placed on a droplet, because I knew the game was over from the start. But I thought I would still showcase it to you guys, because I think it was very funny, it was very entertaining, because I didn't have to really do that much. Considering the fact that I completely outclassed the survivors at this skill level, so it made sense. It made sense to me that at least it'd be very entertaining to see use a different killer. So, to say the least. And it was quite interesting learning this character, I would have to say. I think I probably could put more time in and probably get even better with Spirit. But for now, we're focusing on different killers. But I do want to have the one time where I do actually pull out Spirit for a nice little video to entertain you guys, you know, who do come back and want to see maybe something fresh and something new. You know, now we have a little bit of some new content, right? So we cancel the unhook there. That's when we go ahead and get the knockdown. Now, unfortunately, because we do go for the phase, so that's why we're trying to keep up with them. Because keep in mind, this is one of those perks that automatically heal them for free. So yet again another second chance. God forbid they as if they didn't have enough, right? So he just tries to be petty and drop a stun grenade because he knows it's not gonna work. Which then I just go ahead and go for the pickup because he already used his flashbang, and then the other one is just like running in the middle of nowhere. So I figured I already got this. This is light. Either way. Now, as it's really to be expected, I think there's a numerous amount of second chances that survivors have as it already is, that don't even require any prerequisites. So they don't really need to be having they don't need enough chase time. They don't really need to be good at the game. But if they just get downed easily, that's when the perk activates. So to be expected. So that's why we then go back over to the hook, because we figured this is the time to start applying a little bit more pressure. So this one decided to go for a body block, but that's exactly what we wanted, because we want the endurance off of them to make it that much easier to get them on the ground again. Which, if I'm not mistaken, they may have had off the record. I don't remember exactly if that's the right call there in this particular gameplay. But either way, I had assumed that the endurance would have been important to get rid of, so that's why, of course, they run back to Shack, which is going to be their downfall, as you can probably assume, because we already know that we try to mess around with the sound there, and that throws her off. And that's what's so great. Like, I can use the directional sound to my advantage because of the fact that they can hear me going side to side. They won't know because they can't see me. So it's interesting that the one thing to try to nerf Spirit kind of benefits us in a way, which is we got rid of the pallet easily. We start phasing again. This is sort of the best thing I can kind of tell anyone who's trying to learn Spirit is really just to keep using your power like as the second is charged. You know, like it speeds you up. You can learn how the ability works. You can get better with getting used to the audio cues and stuff like that. Maybe even run unrelenting, right? Like that'll help out too, especially with a character like this. Like maybe you're not used to the speed being so like low. I definitely had trouble with it when you're definitely used to the 115 killers. Now you're gonna see here I do get a lot of unrelenting value, so that's exactly what we're looking for. We're just trying to bait them to vault the window, but of course, you know, as to be expected, they have the head-on into the flashbang. But that's when we start phasing again, because you got to keep in mind that no matter how many second chances they want to abuse, it's not going to matter because he just gets folded again. And you already know that because they knew the game was over from the very beginning, they're thinking they're going to get some kind of fun little clips. Oh, haha, we're getting saves. That's not how it works. So that's why we immediately start checking the lockers, because we figure as much. They most likely must have jumped into a locker or something like that when I walked away. So that's why we fake by going for the phase, and we just take a quick look around and see if we can hear anything, which is when they do end up revealing themselves there. Gives us a free M1. Then they start vaulting in, but we immediately pick up, obviously, because what can they do? She tries to run in, but I already knew because he overextended so far away from the pallet, she had no time of getting back to it. So it's those little things that really can separate the beginners from the experts and stuff like that. There's definitely little things like that where you can kind of pinpoint and go, well, by the time they run back here, they're not reaching this pallet. Like, and it's subtle things. Keep those things in mind. Now, we knew they were going to head on again, because they always need to use their perks to try to act like they've got something going on, but they're going to get folded regardless. It makes no difference. As you can see, I already knew what they were trying to do, because I already saw a pallet. I was like, yeah, watch them run over there. So that's why we give them the big old nod no, so they understand their place, and then we can move on to the next gameplay. But first, we'll take a look at the builds for a second, and then we'll just dive right into the next gameplay. And that's obviously we're gonna get him to hit too, get him a low nod if you have the time, you know. And then we can take a look here. As you can see, they're all running the usual second chance, dead hards, you know, background players, all the usual meta nonsense as per usual. So now we can just dive right into the next gameplay. So now we have Spirit again, but we're now on Fractured Cowshed. Now this gameplay in particular was quite funny, to say the least. I found it quite entertaining, at least for me personally. I found it quite good. And with a character like this, I have time to put down the droplets. You know, I don't really have to worry about the early game as much. But I figured right off the bat, this is when I really started to get a little bit more comfortable with the character, especially when realizing I should just constantly be using my power, like just constantly get into the groove and just start phasing around, because that's your best bet. It's very hard to counter for them, especially if they don't have any experience dealing with it. And obviously the more you learn, that's when you'll start to get the more difficult lobbies. Now, off the bat, I'm going to use my v.h.s.x stack because you got to keep in mind that they spawn on top of generators and they're most likely going to have at least 2 people minimum on that generator. So that's why we immediately just blow it up, just to give us the time so that we can actually go around and actually attempt to find anybody else, which you're probably going to notice that there really isn't anybody else around to really go for a save yet. We're checking the generators within the range that we can go, but it seems like that nobody really wants to go for the save. So obviously that's when we just kind of stay within the range, because it's like, why should I leave the area and explore the land when I can just go back toward where I know that the action's going to be, which is obviously going to be back over there. So that's what we do. And then you can see Nancy's running around. Which just, of course, we knock off the endurance. They kind of vault. I guess it was because they wanted to use lithe or something. You could definitely see that this particular survivor has a little bit of trouble with the pathing in the game. Now, I tried to use the blood circle there to give me like a little boost. Just trying to have fun with it, so that's why we use it again. So that's when we immediately start getting Nancy out of the game as soon as possible. You know, a lobby like this, you could definitely say it. I will point it out if I see it. You know what I'm saying? If the survivor knows what they're doing with their pathing, then I will point it out and I will say, like, hey, look, like, this survivor seems like they know what they're doing. Now, keep in mind that in this particular situation, the Nancy is quite lost. And it's really interesting that a lot of people will try to dismiss the game and say it's just a party game and it's all casual. But I mean, we have skill-based matchmaking, and there's a lot of intricacies to this game that can take a lot of time to learn. And one of those things is even just simple, like something you would think is so simple as like pathing. You could definitely notice the difference. Especially with somebody running around like this, they're just kind of taking bad vaults. They're not really going for, you know, not really being very optimal with their movement and stuff like that. Definitely shows the difference. Now, another example I could say was like another video I put up with Ghostface, for example, which I had mentioned in that video. Like, their pathing was very good. But a lot of the time they'll just try to discredit those people and say that they were just still bad anyway. But you got to keep in mind that your skill will always shine through regardless of the match, and it's really interesting because people will try to discredit it, but it really just goes to show, you know. Now we did get a v.h.s.x stack going, which is awesome. We realized, yeah, we could probably just go for them one by one. I mean, we're not really super efficient on generators. Our chases are very fast. Their pathing was very, very, very lackluster, so we figure we can just attempt to just use the strategies, even on the lower levels, because of the fact that it's really not that important to be super hyper optimal, but it is good practice, so we can kind of get an understanding, which we ended up actually getting a grab. You see, here is why I was going side to side again, because it was the sound cues. They didn't really know what to do, so what I tried to, I may have overcommitted to it though, like maybe a little bit, but yeah, it's really just to get them scared, so that they can make a mistake. So that's what we try to do. Obviously, we immediately got them on the hook again, so that's why we take a look around. I wouldn't say that there's like too much to learn from this particular match, because it's pretty much a wash, you could argue, but it is still fun to see, you know, just to see. You know, Spirit just kind of doing Spirit things, you know, I would say, at least for me personally. We do have a third match in this particular video as well, so we try to go ahead and go with that. As you can see, she tries to like walk to prevent me from like being able to see where she ran off to, but it really doesn't really mean much. I have the awareness. Which Spirit is definitely a character that rewards you for, you know, having that awareness and having the hearing through your headset, among other things, to really give you the maximum amount of value in this particular lobby. Now, I will say that during like this portion of the match, when you finally get to like about 2 people, that's when it can get a little bit of the hide and go seek timing, because of the fact that they just don't really want to get finessed after that. They usually tend to get pretty upset, so they try to win the ego battle by hiding all game and wasting time. Now, thankfully, we were able to see where they ran off to, so we then go ahead and follow through here. And we do obviously get some unrelenting value there as well, but we just want to get rid of pallets, get some extra points, and just specifically focus on trying to get another person on the ground so that we can try to pull out the other survivor. And then that's when we can try to pull a 4K, which is great. You know what I'm saying? They decided to pre-drop the pallet, that gives me the lunge. And then we just continue to go through here, which you know that there's no pallet here, so we can just continue to follow them. And then as I've mentioned before, we just want to constantly get rid of these pallets. We want to use our power whenever it's ready. We want to do a multitude of different things. Now you're gonna see nice. Okay, they tried to double back there, but they just kind of tried to spin around, which is just a horrible idea. Doesn't really work on me. So then we put them on the pain res hook, which is good for us. And I also just started taking a look around. And it seems like that was the gen that was being the most progressed. So that would have assumed that Steve would have been in the area. That's why I decided to just kind of phase and see if I can maybe listen to any maybe footsteps or anything like that. But we just stay within the proximity so that we can then just defend the area to the best of our ability and do what we need to do to start getting our 4K. It's quite fun. Maybe I'll be playing more Spirit in the future, but I do have enough killers that I play as it is. But depending on how well this video does, so if you guys want to see more Spirit, please let me know in the comments. You know what I'm saying, that you want to see more Spirit, you know what I'm saying. She is quite fun, I would say. But this will be the one of the more I guess one of the more different kind of videos. We want to keep things fresh. Which I gotta say, like, Steve just like got hit and just he was gone. Like, I was honestly kind of surprised. Like, I didn't even see where his crash marks ran to. He legit just broke line of sight and he was able to get away. So I was quite surprised, to say the least. With that being said, though, I figured that because they're both injured, we'll still be able to hear them eventually, so it's not that bad. Now, one thing I will mention also is about Strider. Strider is a perk that increases the sound of their breathing by 25% and their grunts of pain by 50%. So you're having an increase to their sound. Now, the problem that you may come up with when you're pulling a perk like that, it's from the nurse. You are going to kind of mess with your muscle memory and mess with your sort of audio ranges a little bit, and you might end up letting go of phase a little bit sooner than you think because of the audio sounding like louder than it is. So you'll think that you're closer than you are, and then if you're learning Spirit, you may adapt to that sound range. So then when you remove the perk, then you'll end up kind of being a little bit out of whack, which can kind of mess you up a little bit. So we get a free M1 on the Steve here. Now, this, after seeing him just kind of vanish the first time, this is when I really made sure I would try to stay close and really try to make sure I'm listening correctly to understand where he ran off to this time. It could be maybe lucky break. I mean, I know there's got to be some perks that do hide the scratch marks for basically the cost of nothing. Now, we down him pretty much very easily on a bad pallet, as I kind of expected. So that's when we immediately just take him and put him on the hook. Now, another thing I will mention about this particular match was the fact that they actually sent me to this map with a map offering, and that was not fortunate for either one of us, right? Because I figure, like, it is a BP event. I figure all of us want to get some extra BP for whatever reason. Like, if you want to reach P100 on a survivor or a killer, which I had reached P100 Ghostface, which was the goal for a long time. The event was a great thing to do for that. Now, I don't know, like, what really motivates people to run a map offering of all things. Like, you could even run just a survivor, pudding or whatever you call it, the escape cake or whatever. You could run one of those things and at least be contributing to your BP game, but a map offering, I don't know. I don't really see where the bonus kind of kicks in there. I mean, you're just sending people to maps that we know what it really wants to be on. At least in terms of the killer. I mean, we're usually getting a map offering to really terrible maps that nobody wants to be on, especially the farm map of all places. Come on, man. Like, nobody's trying to be here. So you see, I'm trying to like go for the blood, like the blood reach, and now he starts like teabagging for some reason. I don't know why. And then he just gets folded. So with that situation there, I had to make sure I had stood there. You know what I'm saying? Break the pallet. I had to make sure I BM'd. You know, I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, nah, you're gonna get the no. You gotta get disrespected. No, I was trying to be chill about it. You get disrespected. So here we are with another match for Spirit. This will be the last one for the video. Once again, if you want to see more Spirit, let me know in the comments. You know what I'm saying? You want to see more advanced Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because we do enjoy Spirit a little bit around here. It's quite fun. Who would have guessed? You know, it's a lot of killers that are very enjoyable. Now we do have Unrelenting again on this build. I was just kind of jumping into the back-to-back matches because I was really trying to get the levels as quick as I could, you know, especially with the opponents that we got going. I would honestly have to say I took advantage. So we're just kind of taking a look around. We figure we can start activating our ability again because we can just use our hearing to give us the advantage we need. I'm not entirely sure why she decided to stand there and flip the locker open, but hey, not really worried about it. We just immediately started to phase here. We saw the little crackle there on the right side, and then we downed them while they run into the pallet because it's usually what they end up doing for whatever reason. And so that's when we take advantage and we actually start to bring them over to the pain res. I always use a pain res very, very early into the game because of the fact that it can be two people with like toolboxes on a generator. Usually, keep in mind they spawn on top of the gens. 9 times out of 10, they may even spawn on a gen that isn't blocked by corrupt. So it is always best to just throw out your first pain res to reset a lot of that progress that they're making in the early game. Now the young Jin decided to quit, so that was obviously good for me. I took advantage of that. I flew right back over to intercept where she's going, so that's why we're listening in, and we figure, okay, they're running in there trying to mess around with the lockers, so that's when we go ahead and take her out of the game. Yep. Doesn't work on me. Now, I'm assuming that because of the, like, maybe these survivors are used to going against, like, maybe some, like, lower level skilled, sort of, like, killers. Maybe that, like, maybe to them that was, like, you know, working for them all I guess all day or something, who knows. Maybe that was working for them for quite a while, but it didn't work on me, so I guess I got them pretty salty, so that's why we just immediately started going around and taking a look. Now, one of the great things about Spirit, especially when you have an add-on for recharge, you could just keep using your power constantly. So that's what we do. We decide to activate our power and fly on over. We figure the gen on the left is probably the first one we're going to just check, which is exactly where they were. And that's just due to game sense. You can kind of just figure out what they're trying to do. So we've got a pallet drop. That's nice. That's already one down. And then if we can get another one, that makes this area completely unsafe. So that's why we start using our phase. Try to like see if we can get them to make a bad drop. Surprisingly, I did actually let go of the haunt, so that doesn't mean that I was gonna get stunned there. But we were at least able to clear out at least like 2 pallets, so that's pretty good. We used the sound cues there to get them to vault, and then we just grabbed them right out of the window. So that was really cool. And then we just go ahead and activate our another pain res. We did end up getting a gen done, but that gen was somewhere off in the distance. I'm not really worried about that, you know, at the time, right? So that's why we just go ahead and break the pallets around here. Now this area here is very unsafe. This little like corner here, because the 2 main pallets that were even available are now gone. So that does help us out quite a bit. I gone ahead and broke down that wall as well. It was quite good, you know. We also started getting some droplets. We're just getting our BP up, you know. We're more focused on getting our perks up. So there goes somebody flying in. We just hit them. They spin around thinking that's gonna, like, you know, cause some kind of reaction. I really could care less because I was like, oh, no, cool, no more than the droplet I could use. So I just placed it right back down. Give it a nice little kickarooski, and then we're all good to go. So it was quite fun, to say the least. All right, so then they get the save. So that's when we try to go for the Nia now. We just go ahead and get the pickup. We're just gonna, like, at this point in the game, especially if you're having like a lobby like this where it's not like too quick with the generators like flying, you can kind of go for that. Like once you get that first person out of the game, you can casually just kind of go between everybody, trade out the hooks, that kind of thing. But like when you start to get to that peak level, which may take a while, so I wouldn't really worry about it until you really start to notice like that the gens tend to fly really quickly. That's when you can you might have to like really hit the pedal to the metal type of thing. But with this particular lobby, I figured I have time. They're not really pressing gens too hard, and you can really tell the difference between the lobbies. Just it's really off of feel and off of just just timing. Now, we were just kind of staying in proximity. We're still practicing our usual techniques and all that other stuff. And we ended up losing track of the survivors in that particular area, but that's completely fine. Because now we find the one there. Oh yeah, I remember now. I'm actually watching this back, and I'm like, all right. So the Nia's actually head off the record, so I figured we would go eat for maybe Nia again. But we ended up hitting the Alita, which is fine. Doesn't drop the pallet. So I figured I'll break it, keep her zoned in this particular location. You see her now, she has no choice but to just kind of get out in the open. They get a gen done, but at a very slow rate. We pick up, and then you're going to see here decisive strike. So keep in mind, you can count that now. That's off the record and decisive strike. That's 2-second chance perks. Right off the bat. So I figured, well, looks like it didn't really matter. Once again, they get downed immediately. So it really just goes to show that a lot of the time it is definitely perks that really carry these survivors to the lengths that they do, because of the fact that, as you just saw, they had both off the record and decisive strike, and we're still just getting folded. So that pretty much just tells you everything you need to know. Now, we take a look around, we realize, oh, there goes the guy who was trying to push all the gens. We just try to go for the Blood Moon, the Coup de Gras value, but we stay within proximity because we know someone's going to close in for the save. You can even tell by the disregard of their own safety that this is going to be good for us. Now, what I decided to do this time was I was going to let the Nia not, like, I was not going to follow them, because I realized if they have off the record, they can't heal or touch any generators or anything like that if they want to maintain their endurance. So that's why I've gone for Alita instead. So that would force the Nia to attempt to, because you see, look what she's trying to do. She's trying to bait to force the value out of the perks that we knew about currently. So that's when I figured. And you look how hard she's going to body block, right? She's trying to force the endurance hit this time, and that's when I figured, you know, I'm not like, you know, we're smarter than the average bear around here, right? So that's when we focus on trying to go for the Jonah, because he hasn't got any hooks at all, which technically speaking would be considered playing fairly. So you can see that the survivors are trying to force the gameplay they consider toxic and whatnot. Isn't that interesting? Right, this will be the same survivor complaining that the killer's quote unquote tunneling or something. So that's how we just keep forcing pallets out, and then we just immediately go for Jonah. You see how easy it is to split pressure. And you're gonna see this clown just runs in front of me again, but I don't really care. We focus on just getting the hook on Jonah. The Alita's just probably on death hook. I believe she needs to run around and probably get the save or whatever have you. You see the game's already in my control the entire time, and it's all due to the little minuscule decision making that you can make that completely leverages the game to your side. Now, one of the main things that I try to do, which is something I've done recently, is if they have off the record, I just ignore them. Because keep in mind that if they decide to do anything like save, unhook, touch the gen, sabo, whatever, like they don't have their endurance perks, they don't have anything at all anymore. So what I do is I just leave them alone so that they can run off, and then they'll have to, if they even attempt to heal themselves, that completely cooks them. So while that's happening, now she has to go save her teammate, right? So that's when we then take out her other teammate. And that's like the little thing that I'll do. It really just depends on the flow of the match. If you're close enough and you can catch the hit and actually hit off the endurance off the bat, that's also much more recommended. But depending on the flow of the match, especially because in this match I was trying to maximize the blood points, so I was trying to trade out the hooks to just try to gain as much as I could. But obviously, you know, that's why we're also just kicking gens with like 1% on it, because we just want those points. Now, you're gonna see here that we go after the Nia this time. We figure, all right, cool, she's pretty much done here. And would you look at that? You can count that now. That is 3 second chance perks. That is 1 dead hard, and also off the record, and also decisive strike. Like, how many do you need? Like, to have a whole build dedicated to second chances is crazy. So which artificially extends the chases, as you can see, because they already got folded. They were in a bad position. They don't really know what the hell they're doing, but, you know, and then they just get folded again. So I gotta give them the no. I'm like, they're trash. Like, what are they doing, right? So then we move forward because I was trying to find the Jonah, but they ended up just kind of hiding the entire game, maybe like 2-3 minutes straight or so. So now we're here, we come back, we realize, okay, they're all getting fully healed. What I'm going to try to do is just go ahead and kind of guess where maybe they might be. Which, I just take a look around and we do end up spotting the Nia doing, like, walking in the back of the map. So I guess they thought I didn't see them, so that's why we go ahead and get a free hit there. Now, they're pretty much completely out of second chances. They already used all of them. So, they pretty much have nothing here. So, they get cooked regardless. They try to run through me, they get downed immediately. So, it's really interesting to me that all those second chances and they still got folded every single time. Without their off the record and decisive and dead hard, they all got, they got folded. They got folded. That's why I gotta hit them with the craziest no. Because you gotta make sure. And then they try to nod back. I just walk right away. I walk right off, like, anyway. Like, so I was like, you know what? Let me just take this clown out of the game. Their time is up. Let's just get them out of here. So we put them in the basement. I always find it interesting that the survivors try to nod back, like, for some reason. I'm like, no, dude, you know, you should know that this is for a reason. Like, you got folded. And you just, like, that's like the 3rd time that they just get folded up without perks. So it's kind of sad, and their teammate also has a bird on their head, so they were clearly hiding the entire game as expected. It really is interesting, to say the least. So we just go after them. Basically try to run through me for some reason. Doesn't really matter, because we just down them anyway, and then we just bring them to the basement. So that is the end of the video for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys maybe learned something. If you want to see more Spirit, leave a like. Comment, subscribe to all the YouTube things for me, and also leave a comment saying that you want to see some more Spirit on the game, on the video, on the channel. And also make sure you become a member to get access to exclusive content, as well as exclusive perks as well. So that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.